How are you finding the event?
Did you know that Gash played the bass in many bands before? Did you know that?
No.
So Matt, what are your thoughts on the weekend? I've had it's been very good actually. We've got mountain culture, we've got range, we've got bridge roads. Weather's been fantastic. Food's been amazing. Music.
Hours later.
We are at the Hop Harvest Place HPA up in Myrtleford. You can see there they had streets and each hop sort of labelled. This was like testing for brewers and visitors. They can just come and test. There's a whole one row of each, or one or two rows of each variety just in this bit. And so there was Eclipse and Ella and Big Secret. I think I show some more signs a bit later. I can't remember exactly which row was row from here because some were obviously past their proper harvest date and some weren't ready to harvest, and the Galaxy's just about, they're harvesting the Galaxy right now. So there's Eclipse and Ella and Vic Secret and Topaz at the back there, and a few experimentals, and that field you can see at the back is all Galaxy. That's a proper production field out there. This is just walking. I've actually got a lot of this footage and I'm going to cut some of it out of this video. I was watching it back before and there's way too much. Yeah, it was just hops for miles. It was pity about the weather. They weren't actually picking on this day, which I was a bit disappointed in, but we still got to see the rest of the facility, which you will see in a minute. This would be around the Galaxy area because they look ready to pick. Oh, they might be a little bit young, these ones. Still looking a little bit fresh, but they're getting very close to pick. Now, there's some there, yeah. See, some are going brown, so some are going to be ready, and they sort of have to just make that call. As I said, this isn't a proper production site. This bit just here is testing, but they grow all the Galaxy in the world, and it's all on this farm. Oh, there's 3 farms. One's on the other side of the hill. There's this one, and there's one down in Tasmania. And if you're getting Galaxy, you're getting it from here. So I was trying to stay away from everybody, because I don't know if they wanted to be. I didn't really know them at this point. I met them all over the weekend, but we'd only just sort of met. Oh, I knew a few of the guys from the tasting at ABI's, and the guy running it I knew, but all the other people. So I tried to keep them off camera as much as I could. This was one of the experimental varieties that's promising. I think this has been here for about 8 years. It really takes that long One, you got to, breed and breed and breed until you find one that you're liking the qualities of, and then you got to, turn it into, grow it enough to bring it into production and make sure that, the brewers are going to like it as much as the growers do, all that sort of thing, and it just takes a very, very long time. So there was the one we just saw there. Usually they're in 3 numbers, but that had 4 numbers because they've tried that many different varieties with this 3-number hop. They've put a number on the front, so it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rows and rows of Galaxy. It's just about at its prime picking. It's good stuff.
That is Galaxy. I couldn't really go right up the other end because everyone was getting back into the cars. I didn't want to film them, but it goes all the way that way as well. Just all Galaxy. This is one of the newer kilns. It's still very old, this one. But it was only sort of third full because they weren't in production on that actual day, except for these ones at the end. They weren't picking on the day. So they'd picked last night, and this was the ones drying from last night. They're about 2 foot deep, 60 centimetres. There's a 60-degree fan heater underneath blowing up hot air, which you'll see the fans a little bit later when I go downstairs. You see they're about 2 foot thick. And so they reduce them down, get about 80% of the moisture out at least, 80-90% of the moisture out. And then they roll them up and they all go down the conveyor belt and into the next section, which is the, they put them into bales. Oh, they let them dry a little bit longer. You'll see that soon. And then they put it into bales. Yeah, so usually they're all full of hops drying, but because the weather was so bad on the day we were there, they'd stopped picking. But it just smelled awesome. And it was quite hot in there. I'm glad only one of those heaters was on at 60 degrees. Because you can imagine how hot it gets in that shed. With massive industrial, huge 60 heaters blowing 60 degrees. You can see there that, that not all the hops are green, and that means that they're ready to go. Probably took a few too many photos, but they're the heaters underneath. Those big blue things, huge. This is the lovely weather. That's all Galaxy again. I thought the mountain looked cool. We didn't care. The rain didn't bother us. It wasn't cold. So when it's not cold, I don't give a care stuff about the rain, to be honest. Here they leave them to balance out the drying, so they're all at even drying, even moisture content before they bale them. And if they bale them with too much moisture, they can catch on fire like hay does. So they've got to really make sure they're dry enough, and then they bale them at the end there, which you'll see in a minute. Into 75 kilo around about bales. They're very, very close. You can see the writing on some of them. You might not be able to pick it up in the video. That's the bale machine there. They do sort of one and then can switch over. So they're sort of doing 2, not at once, but do one, do the other one, do one, so they can keep it moving. They're the bales. The thing about these bales is they can test each bale and give them batch numbers so they can do all the food standard stuff, which is what they're doing in the new facility. We're over in the new facility. Once the bales get over here, once they go to be pelletized, everything's stored cold here. It's the only place in the world that can do it all cold. And they mash up the bales. That's what all these mangler teeth are. Oh, that's a bit of dust extraction. But imagine, I wish I could have picked that up and put them in my pocket. That's hop ash. But they mash them all up again. That's what this whole facility here is. It takes it all the way up to the top. And it just keeps getting mashed and break up all those bales and mixes them evenly. This is all for batch recording and for consistency and evenness throughout the hop. You can see it's a huge. And this is all refrigerated. It's massive. It's a huge warehouse. Massive. Never seen anything like it. And in some parts it was like 2 degrees. Some parts was sort of like more, 10 degrees depending on where it was in the factory. And when it finally gets here and it's all broken up, it goes into the pelletizer. This is a pelletizer, and it squeezes them out the end and cuts them off. That's where you get your hop pellets from. I've gone a bit fast, but yeah. That's the packaging machine, their brand new packaging machine. and weighs them all, of course, and it's all automatically put into packets. Stamped with the batch number, which is very important with their food safety standards nowadays. The next day, this is the service hall where the hop symposium was. Now, I didn't record stuff in here because it was all, professional stuff, and actually most of it wouldn't be any interest to homebrewers anyway. It was all about packaging and all sorts of professional brewer stuff. And hopefully they'll share the slides anyway, and I might be able to show you if you are interested. We did do one sensory session on the new hop 033 and that 4029 or whatever it was I said before, and some Eclipse and some this year's, I think it was Galaxy, the other one. This is coming up is a brewer that owns a brewery that used to watch some of my videos. Apparently he knows Little John, so I took a photo of me and sent it to Little John somewhere. And I was saved by pocket spam, no fridge in my hotel room. And with my diabetes, I can't really eat much stuff. So spam and a no-carb wrap was my staple food. Oh, there's Nat from Keiju. We had a few beers with Nat from Keiju after the Symposium too. But I had something to eat first. A bit of brisket. That was good. That was very good, actually. Had a quick wildflower first, because the wildflower beer always runs out. And there's the Keiju guys. Keiju, I didn't take much footage at the beer festival. It's just, I don't like stuffing camera down people's faces when they're trying to have an enjoyable day.
How are you finding the event?
Did you know that Gash played the bass in many bands before? Did you know that?
No.
So Matt, what are your thoughts on the weekend? It's been very good actually. We've got mountain culture, we've got range, we've got bridge roads. Weather's been fantastic. Food's been amazing. Music, any thoughts thus far? The previous band was very good. Their name escapes me. Do you remember that name?
I think it was Van Helen.
I think it was Van Helen. Yeah.
Going forward,
good day.
What are you looking forward to?
Life,
What are your
goals,
next couple of beers?
ambitions. I thought, you know what, we're just going to move forward together. Probably not a whole lot beyond that.
What's your favourite thus far?
Probably the Beechworth Pale Ale's probably got my highest praise so far.
It has been thoroughly good. Thoroughly good.
Thoroughly enjoyed by most at the festival, I would say.
Looking forward to anything from mountain culture?
I think we might go for the status quo, number 1 beer 3 times in a row.
Has
still got that
been
pouring.
Has been good about range.
Very good. The Solera was pouring well early, I thought. And then probably maybe something into the go further, I think, just for something a little different there. The hoppy Hefeweizen might be something worth looking at.
I agree with all of that.
Cheers. Cheers.
And since you're a Sparky, have you ever thought about hooking up a 12-volt battery to your nipples?
In fact, almost constantly.
Here's a little hint of what one of the next brewery series videos might be. What should we pick? Black Velvet or Minabita? So by this stage, when they've put a DJ on, and it's driving me a little bit nuts, but they'd turn the taps off anyway. So I got a little beer off a friend that works there, of course. I'm not going to say which brewery, just in case they get in trouble. But I just filmed this and then left, and we all went back to the brewery.
How are we doing out there, Beechworth? It's been such an amazing day. Have you guys had a good time? Alright, I think we got almost another hour to go, so let's get this party burning.
All right, and it's the next day. It's Sunday. Feeling a bit tired. And that's the famous Beechworth, where, you know, the Beechworth honey you find in your Woolies. Support Australian honey, don't drink that fake or eat that fake Chinese rubbish. There's the famous Beechworth Bakery. Famous down here. I forget what they're famous for. Is it snot blocks or pies? A nice little river I walked across. Trying to stop having to go to the brewery. But famous for gold up there too, you know? Gold, gold, gold. Back at the brewery. And it was the relaxing Sunday afternoon. I actually had something to eat. And I actually did have, I wasn't going to have a beer, but I did have a pint of, what did I have? I think I had the lager. Sat inside out of the sun. It was quite warm. But they had the jazz playing. And then I thought, if I'm going to sit there all afternoon, I better go for a walk again. Walk past the gold office. I was going to take some gold, but I didn't. And then I ended up back at Bilson's, or back at the Last Chance, or Last Street, or whatever it's called. They had a really nice fresh hop ale. It was actually probably one of the best fresh hop ales of the weekend, surprisingly. It was really good. That's it there. That's it there. I'm going to do something from an Instagram eventually. This was their brewery. It wasn't operational on a Sunday. Someone coming out of the toilet. that classic toilet door noise. That's what you can see when you go to the toilets. Past the old Telegraph. That was across the road from where we had the hop symposium, actually. Kelly game. Ned Kelly captured. Then back to the brewery. The band was still playing. Notice I am on the pots, trying to give my liver a little bit of a rest. But I did have a few pots by the end of the day. But it was a good way, you know, relaxing after the hassle of the Saturday. This was a bit later in the afternoon. The band was just about to finish. Actually, this was the last song. And I had me brewer hassling t-shirt on. The next day, I finally ate something proper. A big breakfast. And they were brewing in the brewery. I was just waiting for the bus to go home. I had about an hour or two to wait. And they were brewing a stout, which is a collaboration. I'm not really allowed to say yet, but it will be out in the future.
Have at least a little bit of brewing footage.
I'll let you know as soon as it is. This was a stout in the brewery. And my old mate was just shoveling out, or he comes back in a minute. And that was it. I had to go on a bus after that. I'm tired. I would redo all this talking, but I'm tired. I need some more sleep. So, see you soon.